Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Over here, spending the morning in good old Mordor as I wake up for an early morning myself. A little bit tired, but you know what? We got some goddamn magic internet money business to talk about. So, without wasting any more time, because the purpose of these videos, of this video series, is to be in and out fast, essentially. Just talking about some more shorter term price action. Let's get to it. All right. So, as always, I want to just kind of detail the main areas to be aware of. You got this area right here, the area that we've been looking at for quite some time, 6150. As long as you're above 6150, I think that you're safe from going lower, fucking obviously. But my point is that I think if you do break 6150, you're likely to go much lower and find some new lows is really what I'm insinuating. So and then our most recent upper resistance trend line that we're working on right here right now, as detailed by a descending triangle, pretty damn full within this whole formation right here. You can see that we have great confluence with the what was the 100 exponential in this upper resistance right here, and is now turning into like the 55 exponential in this resistance right here. Yes, it's not exactly necessarily perfect, but doesn't need to be. Anyway, so I always want to be aware of like the big areas. So the big areas is essentially right here at about 6750 now, as this is declining over time, as a declining or a descending triangle would imply. Let me actually readjust this. There we go. Okay, yeah, about 6750, and I mean just yesterday it was about 6800, and the day before that about 6850. So you can understand how quickly that this is declining. You'll notice that going over here to the 2-day dildo chart, we do have this kind of lining up, or what was lining up with the 55 exponential right here. Not so much anymore. It's actually a little bit above. We do still have the 2-day dildo death cross going on over here. Still living below the 21 exponential right here. Just closed another dildo below the 21 exponential as well. 3-day dildo chart, same sort of thing, closing a plethora of dildos below this yellow 21 exponential, and really filling out this area extremely aggressively. In fact, if I were to use dildo bodies, you'd be saying that we're right at the major resistance right here right now, and we won't be getting another 3-day dildo for a little bit of time. So again, just going to put that back where it was, and always want to be aware of that. You'll also notice that yes, the weekly is living not just under all of these exponentials you're hinting at across the yellow 21 exponential to the downside of the green 55, but also you can see that this red 10 simple moving average is acting as resistance right now as we kind of chug our way along. So that's about as far as the higher time frames that I want to go during a video like this. But just want to be aware of these things at all times, of course. So again, your red 10 simple moving average on the weekly is actually the resistance that we kind of hit this morning. It looks like waking up to a nice little rally myself at around 6650-ish area, and holding it down so far. Okay, so back to the daily, and as you can see, yes, the green 55 exponential is kind of your more immediate resistance, coming in right around here again, 6650 if you just want to use a daily dildo time frame. If we go down to the 4-hour, now let's plot out some more immediate areas to be aware of. We got the area that we just broke out of yesterday at around 6550. We got the area that we held yesterday at 6450, two areas that we've been speaking about for quite some time. And if you took those trades, well, fucking well done. I mean, this is why I love trading ranges. All I have to do, buy on support, sell on resistance. It's that simple. And what happened over here? Well, you just hit another resistance right here. The other resistance we've been talking about, 6650. Again, I absolutely love trading ranges. I do not, breakouts and breakdowns are, they're fun, they're sexy, they're like where the people show their big gains on cross leverage on Twitter. But sorry. You know who you are, dirty bastards. But at the end of the day, most of the time, price action is ranging in some way, as we have not had a major breakout in quite some time. So if you are a big breakout trader, well, good luck making this your fucking living if you don't get too many trades. But fair enough. Everyone has different perspectives in this market. Now, of course, we got a few more to deal with as well. This guy down around here, right around 6350, and this ultimate guy right around here, right around 6800-ish area. Now, if we were to place a nice formation on this, you could say that this is a broadening wedge. If I fit it like this, you could also say, and you'll also notice, which is also valid, if that doesn't get confusing enough, we are actually in a smaller rising channel right here, which is a little bit more parallel. The difference between a Brownie wedge and a rising channel. Both patterns though typically get resolved to the downside. Not always. Not every pattern does everything always. I mean, it's not how trading works. It's, you know, there's variability in this game. I've seen every fucking pattern break out every goddamn which way. I've seen descending triangles break out to the upside. Yes, it can happen. But again, until you actually start getting above 7,400, I'm not really even interested in talking about a potential reversal. Above 6,800, I wouldn't want to be short, but at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily get bullish off that. Anyways, okay, so more immediate time frames. Yeah, these are the trades that I'd be looking at in this range right here. Again, you now have what you want to see as support around 65.50, and you're going to be working on this 66.50 resistance. Now, I will say this. Please do keep in mind that today there is some sort of fuck going on because BitFinex is going down for a couple hours, which they have conveniently not stated what hours that'll be. Funnily enough, they gave everyone about a 12-hour spread saying, hey, sometime during the time of like 2 a.m. to 2 p.m., we're going to do some maintenance for about 2 hours. We'll let you know 30 minutes before it happens. Huh, that's fucking interesting, isn't it? He got me with the good old Mex maintenance one. And no, of course not. Well, I mean, on that one, you know, I didn't even take a position, and I won't be taking a position on this one either. And this is what I wanted to briefly talk about for a second. I don't think that it's worth it to have a position during this time. You know, maybe nothing goes down, maybe no fuck induces from this scenario. But at the same point in time, as you know, as someone who does this for a living, I don't like that sort of uncertainty when it comes to trading. I just don't fucking like it. Even if it were to go in my direction, it doesn't matter to me. It's not fucking worth it. Now, BitFinex does have an amazing premium on price action right now. It has about a $40 to $50 premium depending upon which exchange that you're looking at. We got 6,610 cents trading right now. It's as you can see on the right hand side over here. You got Mex trading at 65, 62 and a half, GDAX trading at 65.51, and Stamp trading at 65.54. So there's a lot of variabilities in these things, and there does seem to be some going on with Finex just trading well above all the exchanges. Something to do with some sort of a Tether premium. People just really want Tether. That's what's going on over here. Now you will notice that Tether actually is trading a little bit under the dollar. If we go over here to my Tether chart, just ever so slightly under the actual dollar. But this is, I mean, this right here was like kind of a one-off, right? It's Kraken. It has no fucking liquidity. So that would kind of insinuate that people are selling to Tether and holding, that people are getting out of Tether and selling their Tether for insert random coin here, and I mean next Bitcoin here. But is this really enough to explain the price difference? Well, I would argue no. If you were to kind of do the multiplication on that and do some maths, you'd probably notice that doesn't necessarily quite make too much sense. Anyways, okay, so back on over to the Bitcoins over here. Do we have anything else to talk about? Let's go into like the lower time frame oscillators. What are they saying? Again, you just kind of, I mean, if you were going to scalp this, I think you kind of miss your chance. Not necessarily sure if I'd want to get the second try. If you do get a second try, did get a 2-hour kind of shooting star dildo right here, but is that really? It's not necessarily at the full top of the trend. It's not on high volume either, so I wouldn't be putting too much worth on that. RSI just barely getting into, or not just barely, but getting into the neutral zone, getting well into the neutral zone, and looking like it kind of wants to test the upwards regions of the bullish zone. But I also wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it does kind of come back here and take a stab at 65.50 before, you know, making its way onwards and upwards. Now, the 3-hour, interestingly enough, we talked about this yesterday during the late night stream, the evening stream, and the 3-hour stochastics were pointing up, and that's just one of those things that I've shared a strategy on my channel here, completely free. Just go check it out. It's the technical indicators section, and that gave you a perfect buy signal, actually, perfect fucking buy signal, actually timing the ultimate low right over here at 64.50. So hey, if you use that, well, you're about $150 happier. Anyways, proprietary stochastic not telling us too much on this time frame. Neither is I mean, your Fibonacci telling you at a little bit of resistance, but it's not like that's not like a tradable event in my opinion. 4-hour actually did give you a buy signal right here, timing you a great buy on this guy as well. I always want to point this out, this proprietary stochastic over here. The link to all of that information is in the description of this video. But yeah, enough about me, more about you. Anyways, into the lower time frames right here, you can see that Bitcoin is starting to, it does kind of want to consolidate a little bit lower, it feels like. A little bit of bearish divergence on the stochastics up here, also pointing down as well, as we just looked at. Same thing with your RSI, with your 30-minute RSI, using that exponential as resistance, and same thing with your proprietary stochastic. So I like all those things kind of agreeing with each other. If I do see my fib start to trade under as well, I'd probably take a trade on that for a nice little scalp. But overall, you know, as long as Bitcoin's above 65.50, you know, it's hard to be too damn bearish. Not that, like, you can't really get bearish on a fucking, you know, on like a $200 range. It's really silly. And I don't even like that I use those terms in that context. You really need to use like bullish and bearish on like longer term time frames, which I think I'd comfortably say that I'm more bearish on. But right here, right now, it's like I'm not really, you know, until you actually break this level with 65.50, I don't really think that that's the right mentality to be coming from, or at least a profitable mentality. So fair enough. Let's see what else we have to look at. Let's look at the 90-minute. This one's usually pretty good as well. Still, yeah, looks like it wants to kind of come back down here, tap the 200 exponential as well as this horizontal right here, and they just so well align with each other. But what else do we have to look at? I think that's probably going to do it for this stream. Let's go look at Mr. Buteroll. I know a lot of people are interested in Mr. Buteroll. Oh, and first things first, I do want to see where GBTC did close yesterday. Yeah, closed on its lows, but did close as a nice doji-ish dildo. So could be a sign of indecision, perhaps even reversal, and is also holding on to this bottom support right around here. So maybe Bitcoin is in for some rally today. Very, very possible. Okay. Mr. Buteroll, let's wrap it up with Mr. Buteroll. Let's see. Okay, so there's two big ideas with Mr. Buteroll that I have. The first one, well, no, let's do the first one as my main interpretation. I'd be saying, hey, you are operating in what looks to be a broken rising channel, or perhaps even a rising wedge, as I guess these are not parallel as well. And you've kind of broken it down over here. You're just kind of retesting this area over here, and bulls really need to pick it up and onwards extremely fast. And you'll see that this volume kind of taking you back up is not necessarily the most impressive of all time, especially when you kind of break it down like this. Now, with that said, there's another way of interpreting this, and it's also valid. I think it's actually equally as valid, but basically we're working on some sort of a symmetrical triangle coming on over here. Now, I'm a little bit less inclined on this one just because I would be looking for a different kind of volume profile overall, and I'm not sure how I feel about this area over here. It doesn't necessarily fit too well. I'd be looking at it like this, really, where maybe you have like a throw over to the downside and then you pop back up. That would be pretty damn bullish to see something like that. But to refit it like this, gets a little bit hairy. Maybe you draw it all the way back here. But again, that's not the way that I like to draw these things. It just doesn't, in my experience, that's not the way that they usually play out. Anyways, kind of the same scenario, which either way that you look at it, and this is why I love using horizontals, because basically you have the area that we're at right now as your main resistance. You have this area right here as your main support, and you have what lines up with this upper kind of diagonal trend line as your upper resistance. So a break above this area right here, above 232, and probably do get I really don't see much stopping you from this 250-ish area. 250-ish area right around there. Break below this current support right around 218. I really don't see much stopping you from this area-ish over here at around 205. But again, the critical area, similar to like 6150 for Bitcoin, the critical area for Mr. Buteroll to hold up is like 195, 194 and a half, something like that. And by the same token, it's not really until Mr. Buteroll, gets back above like 360th area, like right around, I think it's like right around here. If I were to kind of scroll back out, yeah, there we go, where I can start to say, okay, I think the lows are in. So fair enough. That's pretty much what I'm looking at for today. That's what I'll be trading, and I'll probably be on a live stream a little bit later today. Hopefully we can get some resolution on the goddamn BitFinex situation pretty damn soon. But that's going to do it for today. All right, guys, take care, and see you in another live stream near you soon.